Mm.
Rachel, how are you? It's so good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
It's been a while. So I have this dream of putting this in my podcast as an episode later on. So maybe we should start with like a short introduction. What do you say?
I need you to be louder.
Okay, hold on. Is that better?
Maybe on this end. Jocelyn?
Yes.
Hang on a minute.
What do you need?
Louder.
Louder? Okay. Go up here. There's one. Oh, that's
And I see the entire screen is fuzzy. I take it as the screen is not fuzzy, right?
oh, it's very dim in here. I can open the window
No,
if
I
you
see you. I see you perfectly. You
Okay.
see me do. Let me see. Hold on. Hold on.
See you fuzzy.
Is this better?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Hi,
How are you?
Jocelyn.
My goodness, how do you find the time to do something like this? It's amazing, huh?
It's so important for me. It's really important for me to have this time with you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. So I want to start with a short introduction, okay? I think you need no introduction, but I'll just say, I'll introduce you and say that you're a pediatrician by training, right?
Yep.
And
But a long
then
time ago.
say it again.
I was a pediatrician a long, long time ago.
I know, I know. I want to give the whole picture. So you started out as being a pediatrician, and then you went on, you actually quit your job at Stanford, right? To see what's else out there. We'll talk about that in a minute if you want, because this is really interesting to me. And then you went on to work with cancer patients, right? Children and adult alike.
Mhm.
And you became a professor of family and community medicine.
We founded Commonweal, which
And
is
you
a
founded Commonweal.
treat for people with cancer. The innovation being that people with cancer had a great deal to teach each other and to teach us. And we needed to create an opportunity where the wisdom that comes to people when they develop a chronic and very serious disease can be shared. And it was a totally, there was a whole lot of stuff. You don't want people to talk to each other. I mean, they're just going to make each other sicker if they talk to each other. So this is long, long before
I
medicine
know.
was true.
And then at one point you started writing and you wrote two books, three books actually. The first two were Kitchen Table Wisdom and My Grandfather's Blessings, which were translated to a ton of languages and sold all over the world in millions of copies. This is actually how I met you.
And they're
And then
still, oh, that's what's so amazing, that
it's
they're timeless. The stories are not rooted in any particular time frame. Yeah,
exactly,
just
they're above time and place.
timeless and the strength that is found in that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you wrote a children's book recently, a few years ago.
I didn't write it. It's an old children's story, but I published a children's book. Yes,
Yeah.
and I love that book. It's really quite wonderful, and I can't remember the title of it. Where are you, Jocelyn?
It's the birth of the world, I think, isn't it?
Jocelyn,
yes.
I'm going to need you to stay here, honey. Hello?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And
Yeah.
actually, and I'll just say a couple of words, I'll introduce myself. Um, I'm an internist. I work at Sheba Medical Center in Israel. we are meeting. It's night for me in Tel Aviv and morning, noon for you in Northern California. And after being an internist, a senior physician, a hospitalist, the department for many years, well, not many, about a decade, October 7th happened. And I found myself being the doctor of the returned hostages with a whole team. And now my clinic is Back to Life Clinic, which is the clinic we founded for returned hostages and their family members and family members of hostages who are still in captivity. This has become my main job at Sheba. And actually, alongside that, even before October 7th, everything's divided now to before and after. About 3 years ago, I decided that I want to start a podcast, and I called it Inside Medicine, which is conversations that I do with physicians, but not only nurses and psychologists and all sorts of people and writers. And we just talk about what's the essence of medicine. And this has become a thing. It's been going on for more than 3 years, and there are over 80 episodes, and Israeli people all over the place listen to it because it's in Hebrew. And then I said this would be my playground to just do whatever I want. And my dream was to meet you. So I called you up, I sent you an email and introduced myself, and I said, let's do a podcast together. And you said, sure. And we got together. This was like back in 22. And for some reason, some technical reason, that episode never came about. But I wanted us to try again. So here we are now. This is the short version of everything. So it's been such a privilege to just be your friend and to have you with me. Both your words and your words that are ingrained in me, because the first medical book that I ever got was Kitchen Table Wisdom. A friend gave it to me when I was accepted to medical school. That was a quarter of a century ago in Tel Aviv University. And yeah, that was my first, and I've been reading it ever since and giving it away and rebuying it and giving it away and rebuying it, like with my little notes on the side and my little post-its and all the things, because it's a learning tool for me. So I use it and I write there and I have my comments and I talk to you through the books. And but I think that there's a lot to be shared with the world, with a small world that's around me in the podcast. So this is a very open conversation, but the things that I would like us to talk about, if you will, are your way in medicine and the way you see it. And all the learning and unlearning that we do. I feel that the main thing that I do throughout my life as a physician is the unlearning.
Yeah.
Learning, unlearning, relearning, questioning a lot, more questions than answers. I think having more questions than answers is the key to many things. And writing, of course, which is such an amazing tool. In my podcast, I usually read notes that I write that are connected to the conversation. I won't do that today because in English it's really too ambitious for me. But writing yours, I feel like my notes really resonate with yours. And also, this has been such. These are such upheaval times in Israel and all over the world. So much suffering, so much death, so much violence, so much atrocities, and
so much vulnerability.
vulnerability.
Yes, the feeling of vulnerability.
Instability, a lot of unknowns. We feel we know, we feel we can plan. There's nothing we can plan. So much uncertainty. So what do you think? Where do you want to start?
Oh no. As I'm listening to you talk about medicine, I think you're really talking about life. And medicine is one way to encounter life up close and personal. But there are many other ways to encounter life. Um, and I think the entire nation of Israel is encountering life right now, as well as other nations. And in that process, you discover that life is precious. That's the bottom line. And you're changed by that. The whole rest of your own existence on earth is different than that. Your choices are different. Your response to people is different. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, like everything else, sometimes through pain and fear and not knowing, wisdom comes. And the opportunity here for us as a human race is to gather in more wisdom. And we'll see if that is indeed happening or will happen in the decades to come.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like there's been so much going on, first COVID, and then the war in the Ukraine and Russia,
Mm-hmm.
and then everything that's been going on in Israel, October 7th, and so forth, the Middle East, the entire Middle East. And it feels like there's one shockwave after the other. And like there's a lesson, we need to listen carefully because apparently we're not listening carefully enough because just another shockwave just comes along to shock us, to take us out of our, I don't even know what, but to get us to understand that something very substantial is going on.
You know, it's interesting. When you think about healing, it's usually preceded by a period of pain, loss of control, sometimes surgery, which is also, and that by moving through this in a way that is open to learning is what allows us to become more whole, to lead better lives, to make better choices, to become wiser. And I remember when I was very young and my father was trying to explain World War II to me. And I couldn't understand it until I finally realized it was a way that we could become more human, that we could realize that we have much more in common than we have differences.
Yeah.
And that there are things that are important to us simply because they are important. And they're not Israeli things or American things or British things. They're human things. And in that place, we are one family. And I don't think the human race has learned to do this without a war.
That is so tragic.
We have wartime. Is that once you get past the differences and what we're fighting for and blah, 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 you suddenly realize there's an awful lot that we're holding in common, and we hope for the same things, we dream of the same things, or we value the same things. The basic things are the same.
We hurt the same way.
We hurt the same way and we die the same way.
And we grieve the same way.
Exactly. And through this very strange suffering of wartime, we have the potential to be more human.
Wow.
Doesn't always happen, but it's there. The potential is there. And people have done this since the beginning of time.
I just think of myself trying to convey that message to patients that I see without annihilating them, right? Without making them feel that there's no room for their pain or grief, or without minimizing or underestimating the atrocities they went through. And it's so challenging. And because on the one hand, I want to hold their hope, right? And we look for the post-traumatic growth. This is our ultimate. I don't want to use the word goal, but this is the horizon that we look to, we look up to. But on the other hand, going there too quickly could make them feel very, very lonely.
And not understood.
Exactly. It's so tricky to listen to someone and to listen to their pain. And you always say that listening is the greatest healing tool that we have. Just being there and letting whatever it is to come out and be heard, truly heard, and to be there and keep the balance of not falling to despair, of not over identifying, to be able to be there with them on the one hand, and on the other, um, hold on to hope. This is so tricky. Like keeping the balance is very, very challenging.
It's an interesting thing. There is some way that the suffering is what allows for the healing.
What do you mean?
That if we weren't in a situation where we were in pain and loneliness and suffering, we would never find out or value the healing. That there's some way that this dark mirror enables us to recognize the light way, that there is a light.
Yeah. It's through the darkness that we know light.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It also enables us to recognize a brotherhood.
Yeah.
You know, brotherhood is such a funny name, funny concept. It enables us to recognize family. As I look at my television screen and I see people, you know, killed from a bomb that fell on their house and their children lying dead in the street, that's not just the news. That's us, right? And that us feeling is very hard to achieve in good times. In good times, it's us and them, the rich and the poor, the this religion and that religion, all the differences. We're all very clear on what our differences are. But the kind of thing that's going on now helps us live our commonality, our family relationships with each other.
It is so tragic. Or maybe it's just the way it is, right?
I
We
think
don't need, that's the way it is, right? There's no like giving it like grades or grading it as good or bad, tragic or,
it's
but
just the
it's,
way it works.
yeah. I wish
And
we'd learn a new way.
I don't think you'd learn it as deeply. I think that in learning it in this way, it becomes part of you. It becomes woven into your reality.
Yeah. There's some deep paradox in the fact that I want peace, right? I want to live happily ever after. I want my children to be happy. I want to be able to plan trips and plans and fun stuff and buy tickets for like concerts and just live life to the fullest and enjoy it like we used to. But there's something very paradoxical in the fact that the true meaning of life usually comes through very deep pain, either personal or or like national, no matter what. But this is what's happened to the society in Israel actually, because once there's a lot of diversion and there's a lot of separation and there's a lot of pain within the Israeli society. But once October 7th happened,
Mm-hmm.
everyone just volunteered to help people need. Everyone.
Right. And that's a very interesting mirror
Yeah.
to see ourselves and other people in.
Yeah. It's like our goal is to see we have a proof of concept. Now let's extrapolate it to the good times also, not just the bad times. That would be a true transformation for mankind, not just here.
We don't seem to learn it, though. It doesn't seem to be transmitted from, let's say, parent to child or teacher to student. I think the only way to learn it is by experiencing it.
Very true.
And it sure would be a different world if we didn't have to experience this in order to learn it.
Yeah, I think maybe it's one of the absurds of modern society that a good life is a life without pain. Like the Hollywood figment of happy and everything's perfect, no challenges, everything is very easy, everything painless, just ongoing joy.
I don't think that that joy is meaningful, though. I think that life becomes meaning. Meaning is the key of life, of a good life. Not pleasantness, not lack of pain. Wisdom is the thing that people have that make it worthwhile.
Is this something that medicine taught you?
Hmm?
Is this something you learned through being a physician, through medicine?
No, I think I always knew it.
You were born with it?
Yeah, I do think, and you know, a lot about being a physician. Being a physician never changed me. If anything, it made me smaller,
Really?
more judgmental. Nothing from it, you know. I bet you did too. You know, it's like, huh? I mean, I'm better than people because I know that what medicine they should take. No. Anything that puts you up against life, war, loss, illness, has in it the opportunity to become wise. And for me, that is the goal. It's not about being rich or famous or even making a great contribution to humanity. It's this goal is available to every one of us, that we leave this world wiser than we entered it. And we leave the world a little wiser too. And I think we survive only to the degree that we become wise. All the technical stuff that we learn, it's not going to keep us alive. It'll help us kill each other. But wisdom is a whole other thing. Wisdom is in it the healing of humanity, the purpose of humanity is buried in wisdom. The opportunity of being a conscious human being is buried in wisdom. So, you know, there's a lot that doesn't make sense logically, and it makes perfect sense as you live it out.
Exactly. It's like we have different sets of glasses through which we look at the world, because otherwise we would be self-destructive, because that's the way to grow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we would be self-destructive and all over destructive, because this is the way to become wiser.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very tricky to be reminded of it only when it's inevitable.
That's really funny. Well,
I think this is because being human is being forever purpose searching machine. This is what we do. We look for purpose. We look for meaning, right? We look at the moon and we see a face. We look for a meaning. This is the way we're built. So once a very bad thing, supposedly a very tragic or painful thing happens, we search for the purpose. We search for the meaning. And we understand we couldn't find it any other way.
You know, this process of becoming old,
Becoming what?
old, becoming an old person. Um, a lot of people fear this process.
Yeah.
A lot of people feel it's a loss of power of some sort. And it isn't. It's like a ripening.
Ah,
Oh my goodness. It's like a ripening. It's like I think being wise is like being ripe. You are filled with what nurtures the world around you. Yeah.
it's like ripe, like being just right, just the right measure, right? And in Hebrew,
I don't,
you know,
I'm not right. I'm not saying R-I-G-H-T,
no, I know ripe.
R-I-P-E.
Yeah, I know, but like ripe, it's like the fruit that's in the exact time to be eaten, right? That's right. Yeah, and I think which is the moment that it holds all the beautiful, nutritious flavor, and it's the most tasteful and most healthy, right? That's the moment that it's ripe.
It's the purpose of the tree.
Exactly.
Is that ripe apple? Is the
Yeah.
purpose of
It's
yeah.
also its way to procreate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
And to move the world forward.
yeah. So I think in Hebrew, when you live your life knowing Hebrew, it's very interesting because a lot of words have hidden meanings and double meanings, and you draw back from the Bible. And I feel very privileged being Hebrew being my mother tongue. Um, so just the right amount, like the right measure, is midah. And going to the right measure, which is the process of getting ripe, right? Gradually, you're getting there. So it's lemida. And lemida in Hebrew is learning. It's the same word. Getting to the right measure is learning. Same word.
You know, there's a very interesting thing that happens, at least it's happened for me, and I know it's happened for many other people my age, is that all your shortcomings turn out to be your strengths. And all the ways that at the age of 25 you would have changed yourself turn out to be the ways of being that have made a huge difference for yourself and for other people.
Oh, that's just beautiful. I heard someone say once that we love the people that we love, not in spite of their shortcomings, but because of their shortcomings.
Exactly. And that we sometimes don't recognize the gifts we have. We think they're shortcomings because we don't fit in.
Exactly.
And there's a part of us that are your tribal people, are herd people, if even like, and we want to be part of the herd.
It's so much easier, right? Feels like it
And
would be so much easier.
so much easier, so much simpler.
Yeah.
We want to belong.
Yeah.
And we do belong, but at a level that we don't understand.
Wow.
Every one
You
of us,
know,
yeah.
it's funny what you say about medicine. I didn't have the courage to just say, I'm quitting. Good luck with everything. You told me once, you should just quit. I didn't have the courage to do that, but I don't think it's a matter of courage. I felt that there's more for me to do there, but the more uh, I'm a doctor, the more I feel that I know less. And at one point, it made me feel very, very anxious because I felt I've been learning my entire life and I don't feel like I know internal medicine. I don't know internal medicine. You can always ask me questions that I will not know the answer for. There's always going to be a patient that I will have no idea what's the diagnosis or how to treat them. And as time goes by, first of all, I feel that this is what I love about medicine, that I don't know everything.
Yes, that there is,
It keeps surprising me. And
yeah,
in the past 649 days of the war, I feel like the main thing that I do is unlearning. It feels like I learned the entire medicine in order to let it go.
maybe you have to learn it first in order to let it go.
Yeah,
It's because when you learn it, you realize it's finite.
yeah,
That the thing that drives you, that has called you into being, isn't finite, and it goes beyond this. This is only one way of being a human being,
yeah,
medicine.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel it's very interesting because I think many professions think of themselves as very unique and unusual for different reasons. But I think usually physicians, I feel that medicine is a very, I wouldn't want to have it any other way. And the more I think about it, the more I realize that what I thought I was going for is completely different than what it turned out to be.
Yeah.
And then when I think about it some more, I realize that I'm getting closer and closer to the moment that I decided that I want to be a doctor. And once that moment passed, I went so far away from it. And now my journey is to go back to that very primal moment that I realized, my God, I'm going to be a doctor. This is what I'm going to do with my life. I remember that moment. It was like a very vivid moment that I realized I was like 20 and I realized this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and get accepted to a medical school. And let's see how that works out. This is what, let's see if that can happen. And after that, competition and struggle and memorizing a million facts and the arteries and the bones and the metabolic processes and all and the medications and the pathologies and all that histology and all that and then rounds and being very sharp and knowing all the right answers and feeling bad when I don't and rounds and night shifts 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 and feeling like I hate the entire of humanity. And that person came to in the middle of the night to the yard just to despite me, and I hate them for coming and all that, and then gradually going back to I don't know anything. You've been through the worst of trauma.
Yes.
I'm here. Tell me who you are and how can I help you? Even though we both realize that the main thing that I can do is just be with you
And care about it.
and care about it very deeply. And you can call me anytime because I'm going to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, I think, as a person who has had severe chronic illness, the healing lies in that. It doesn't lie in any medication, any surgical procedure. All these things help. But the true healing comes in the sense of being accompanied, that there is
And
somebody who is there with you, who believes that you are worthy of living, right? And who wants to be there to help. Something about that is, it strengthens the will to live in the person.
wow.
because their life matters, not only to them, but to this other person.
Who holds witness also.
Mhm.
Interesting, I feel like there's something sometimes um, people don't know how to respond when I say, we don't have a very clear answer to what's causing your pain. And I'm an expert in medicine, but you're an expert in being you.
Mhm. That's exactly right.
Let's go on this journey together. I'll bring
Yes,
everything I know,
and
you'll
you're
bring
very.
everything you know, and we'll just explore this together.
Mhm.
And people, when I say this, people look at me like I fell off the moon or something.
But there's a part of them that's been looking for you or someone like you ever since they became ill. They
Uh,
recognize.
other, yeah, because a lot of medicine is just confrontational, right? You gave me this, it didn't work. You gave me this, it didn't work. You gave me this, it didn't work. I have this chronic disease. People are so frustrated. And their meetings with their doctors are many times very confrontational. Maybe it's just the Israeli thing, also possible that Israelis are just very confrontational, but it is. That's just the way it is. You failed because you didn't fix me, right?
Well, see, I think that's where we get caught up because fixing isn't the goal.
Right.
Living fully and passionately and wisely is the goal.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with fixing. You can do that fixed or you can do that unfixed. Being
Also
unfixed
fixing,
will stop you from doing that.
yeah. You fix something
And
that's broken, right?
I
And
don't think eventually, I don't even think of it as broken. I think of it as having like a third eye, which allows you to see deeper into every situation around you.
you have
It's,
this quote that I actually have on my wall, and I want to just quote it. You want to say it?
no, you
Do you know
say
what
it.
I'm referring to? I'll say it.
No, go ahead.
Hold on, hold on, hold on. I have it here with me. Okay. You wrote in one of your books, you said helping, fixing, and serving represent three different ways of seeing life. When you help, you see life as weak. When you fix, you see life as broken. When you serve, you see life as whole. Fixing and helping may be the work of the ego, and service is the work of the soul.
I think it's true.
Yeah. I think it's a true challenge to bring that into modern medical centers, right? To be like
Yeah,
that,
I think
that they are.
our goal is to eradicate disease. That's too low a goal, and it's often not possible. But that doesn't matter. Our goal is to live with purpose, with love, with connection, to make a difference. And being ill is not going to stop you from doing it. As a matter of fact, being ill may make you more powerful in doing these things. And that has been my experience. And it's been my experience in my own life, but also the life of patients.
Yeah,
People who have lived very small, very self oriented lives, at the end of their lives, when they're ill, have transformed their entire families.
my God.
I think we think of these things in very material terms. If you're ill, you're not whole, and if you're whole, you're not ill. And these things are not. That's absolutely untrue. That the power to make a difference in this world is what matters.
Yeah.
If you make a difference for one person or you make a difference for a whole nation, that does not matter. What matters is the power to make a difference. and using that power. That's it.
Yeah, it's tikkun olam.
Yeah. Yeah. And that this is holy work. You know, people say, oh, your medicine, they talk about it as if it's a whole practice, like religion or something like that. It's close to that. It is not a cognitive experience. It uses cognitive tools, but it's not a cognitive undertaking. It's a statement of trust in a funny kind of way.
Yeah, my word would be, I thought of surrender.
Yes, indeed. And that fighting against an illness can cause you to have a very small and limited life. Using an illness to gain in wisdom and using the wisdom to affect the people around you and the society around you, that's a different story entirely.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me to belittle illness is to belittle the teacher. I didn't start out to be the person who's talking to you now by any stretch of the imagination. I was very interested in power when I was younger because my illness took my power away, and so I needed to have power, right? You had to be able to influence people, make decisions that they obeyed, right? Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So how did you change? What
I think
changed you?
the experience of living changes you.
I feel that one of the things that changed me the most is the experience that I've had as a physician.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel that this has opened a huge spiritual side of me that was really undeveloped. And
Yes.
and medicine, because you know, when you ask people what changed you, what would they say? Having children, getting married, and of course, these things changed me tremendously, but they were within the scope of the things that I thought would happen. Being a doctor was not one of my plans, so I never imagined. I don't have doctors in my family. I never imagined being a doctor as a kid. It wasn't in my future. It wasn't in my cards. So I didn't have an image of myself doing that. And once it happened, it really um, preceded everything I could imagine, right? So, and I'm not talking about the big things because I'm not a big thing sort of a doctor, right? I'm an internist. I work at the department, right? So I'm not talking about performing brain surgery, finding a cure for cancer. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm just talking about the conversation that I've had with people throughout the years, which felt to me very like planned in a way. Like there's a reason I'm here with this person. This
Shirt, the shirt, faded.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that was very awkward for me. Things were so well coordinated and so precisely designed that at a point I thought, if this was a movie, I would say this is such a crappy movie because it's so it's so perfect. It's too perfect. It can be real. It's so unrealistic. So this was one thing. And the other thing was the questions that I started asking myself. Like I would see two persons supposedly identical, same age, same disease, same treatment, one's alive and the other one dies. Why is that?
Why is that? Yes.
What's the difference, right? What's this thing that we cannot measure and we cannot detect and we cannot image in some CT or whatever, but it's there because it made this huge difference between these two people? What is it? And these thoughts and questions and experiences and opportunities really threw me on this journey, which is a spiritual journey.
In the old days, the medicine people were spiritual people, thought of as spiritual people.
Yeah.
And I still feel that, yes, we have all these tools and wonderful surgical procedures and amazing medications, and we can eradicate the disease and put the person right back to where he was before he got the disease.
Supposedly.
That's not the goal. The goal is to move the person forward.
Yeah.
And to move forward with the person. This is where I think that the process of being a doctor is a spiritual path. And I would define it as one of the spiritual paths. And that dimension is more important than the healing of the body.
Because the healing of the body is temporary, no matter how you look at it, right? It's temporary.
Yeah.
It degrades.
Yeah.
That's the natural way of things.
Yeah.
After it ripens, it falls out. That's just the way it is. When I was a resident, the head of my department used to say this. He was a very old-fashioned sort of head of a department, right? And he used to say that the purpose of the patient, each patient, their purpose is to teach us something about medicine. And if we didn't learn anything, it was without a purpose, right? Their being at the hospital had no meaning because we didn't learn anything. So to justify the meaning of the hospitalization, we had to learn at least one thing from them, right? And this would usually be a fact, like a side effect or a rare disease or whatever. But I feel very deeply that every experience we go through has to have a purpose
Well,
that changes us otherwise.
But every patient I've ever seen, no matter how angry or small or wise or old or young, has taught me something about love.
About love. No matter how angry they were.
No matter how angry they were, because their anger was what came out of their love.
Wow.
Their love for life, their love for being there for their children, their love was being thwarted, and that's where their life energy manifests as anger, because
Wow.
it's being blocked.
Yeah.
By this illness.
It is so hard to be confronted with anger and see that actually it's a manifestation of love.
The definition of medicine to me is that it is a work of love.
Wow.
And that in seeing it that way, and that means that there's no two patients that are the same. They can have the same diagnosis, but they're not going to, it's a completely different disease that they have, one from the other. And for me, this has been, it's never failed me. I've never come up against something where I say, oh, well, this certainly had very little love in it.
It is so true. And I actually, when you speak, I think of so many things that love is actually the way I love people. And this is the way I approach them. And
Exactly.
I use the word love a lot. And many times, I remember the returned hostages come, and so often we say we're in love. This is the word that we say. We talk to each other like over coffee, like in the middle of the night, and we say, I'm in love with that person. And
Mm-hmm.
and it's so funny because the many times when I'm with a patient, as the conversation moves on, I realize that I feel love for them. I love them for their honesty and the way that they share, and for the
And that
lack of boundaries, and for the way that being so honest and sincere and open with their pain. When someone opens up to you that way, the only possible response is love.
is love. Exactly. Exactly.
When
And
someone's vulnerable to you,
it's an act of love. That's one of the first things I say to my students, or come, they're all filled up with, they've done so well in college and all the sciences and all this stuff. They come to this old mystic who's going to teach them about medicine. First, it's a very funny interface, but
yeah,
then they remember, and they do remember that they knew this all along.
yeah,
That no one was ever going to be a doctor the way they were going to be a doctor. That is as unique to them as their fingerprints, and an expression of their love, not for any individual person, but their love and for life itself and the miracle of life.
for human beings.
Mm-hmm. And somehow this helps you go through the various semi-meaningless stuff that you have to endure in order to get your credentials.
Yeah, I know. It's just like a matter of perseverance, right?
It's
You
just a
want to be
matter
a doctor, just memorize the
of
phone book.
yeah, yeah.
It's funny how it's so traditional, but it's hardly changed in so many years. I think
Oh,
now it's changing a little bit.
it's as if our power comes from our science. No, science is only a tool that we use to express our power.
Science is a very important tool, and it had throughout
It's
the
a
years. It's an
wonderful.
amazing tool, and it's brought us so many innovation. But the problem, I feel, that in a way, science has become a religion in itself, in the fact that it's completely exclusive. So if something cannot be measured by the tool, it does not exist. As if we have all the tools in the world to measure everything. It doesn't leave room for that that cannot be measurable, even now. Okay, maybe now. For now, it cannot be measurable. Maybe in the future it will be, maybe never. But there are things that cannot be measured. Measuring them reduces them.
It doesn't leave room for people like me.
What do you mean, people like you?
I was supposed to be dead 35, 40, 50 years ago. As a 15-year-old girl, I was told, you can't go back to school, you're not well enough. And you're not going to live long enough for going back to school to make a difference. So you'll probably be dead by the time you're 25. So enjoy yourself, enjoy your life. I was told by all the people in the white coats when I was 15.
Wow.
My response to it was rage.
Did any of them respond to it with love?
Hmm?
Did any of those people in white coats respond to your rage with love?
They just thought of me as a very difficult patient. I was. I was. But my mother,
Who was a nurse, right?
my mother was one of the early public health nurses, one of the pioneers of
Wow.
public nursing in America.
In New York, right?
Henry Street Nursing, the Henry Street Settlement House. If you
Wow.
look that up, you'll see the very roots of this kind of nursing. And
Wow.
I used to go and make house calls with her as a 5-year-old, and
Wow.
I carrying her black bag. And we go into the slums of New York, very dangerous. We climb the staircase to the front door. We knock, and some woman would open the front door, and she was sometimes young, but always very worn down and dirty. And And my mother would greet her. Her whole face would light up because my mother had arrived. And we'd go in and we'd sit at the kitchen table. I was about 4 or 5 years old. And we'd have coffee or tea or whatever she was able to serve us in cracked cups. I asked my mother why the cups were cracked like that. Always, always. The cups never matched each other, not like in our house, you know. And after we had tea and she talked about the patient who was there, it was usually a man. The best part would happen, and I would go with my mother to the bed where the patient was lying, usually totally bedridden. Sometimes they were really young people. And we would give this person a bath. And this was the very best part for me because I got to wash the person's hands and feet. I was maybe 5,
Oh,
something like that.
what a story.
We made house calls together, my mother and I. For a
You
long
started your training very young.
Not even a training, just an experience of life that was very different than the life that went on in my house. And that the sense of the response of people to our visit, that it mattered to them, that blew me away. I was absolutely, just blew me away.
There's something, it turns you into a different person. It reveals something in you. It reveals something in me that I didn't know was there.
Yes, but it doesn't turn you into a different person. It turns you into a wholer person. That's something that you sense was there, gets a voice and
Yeah.
gets efficacy in the world.
This is
It,
how I felt when I started my clinical training after pre-med, which is all about anatomy, physiology, pharmacology. And I went through that phase, like 3 years of agony to get to
and
the part.
just when you said it, I said, I remember it was awful.
It was just so frustrating because it was okay, but you go to med school expecting something so different. And then they have you dissecting cadavers and what's that? It's a test of perseverance. This is what I decided. You want to be a doctor? How badly do you want to be a doctor?
Yeah. Are you willing to learn all this stuff?
Exactly. Exactly.
When I discovered, not only was I expected to learn this, but later on, when I realized I'm never going to use this,
Exactly.
I changed.
I was relieved. You see, that's the difference. This will no longer be a part of my life ever.
Oh my
I
God.
felt what a relief. It it it's
Well,
surprising when you discover something within you that you were not even aware of, and then it comes out. It's surprising. It's like, who's that?
who's that? Yeah, yeah. You know, I really feel that it was very fortunate for me to have the kind of family that spoiled me silly. That if I
You're an
wanted
only
some
child, right?
only child of elderly parents,
Mm-hmm.
and that I was in my mother's 10th pregnancy, her only living
Wow.
child. So I was a miracle, right?
Wow.
And that whatever I wanted, I got. Because in another family, I would not have been supported in doing the things that I did.
Like what?
Well, I was in a coma for a year when I first got sick. And when I woke up, I was told, of
A
course,
coma for a year?
my life was over. I had this rare disease called Crohn's disease, right? I was 15. It was a long time ago. I'm 87, right? And then definitely should not go back to college because I was going to be dead in 20 years,
So it's a waste of time.
right? And don't waste your time, right? And all this stuff. And I was totally enraged by this, just enraged. And my parents took me out of the hospital where I'd been there for a year, put me on the couch in the living room where I lay down for easily 2 weeks and complained and moaned and made everybody miserable. And my mother, I never knew her at all, really, because she went to work before I got up in the morning, and she came home from work after I went to sleep. She was one of the first public health nurses in America.
Wow.
So I didn't know her at all. I mean, I knew who she looked like, but I'd never actually spoken with her, been alone with her or anything. And she came to the couch where I was lying with my clothes and threw them on top of me and said, "Get up." And I said, "Why should I get up?" She said, "We're going somewhere." And I said, "Where are we going?" She said, "Find out when we get there. Get up, get dressed." So I got up and get dressed, and she was obviously didn't have respect for the suffering I was going through. And she puts me in the car and she drives me deep into the Long Island, where they teach people to drive competitively. You've seen those car races where people
Wow.
drive miles an hour. And I I raced until I was 20. I was 15 at the time, and I won. And she wanted me to know that I couldn't walk 2 blocks, but I could drive a car at 130 miles an hour and win.
Wow.
She wanted me to know that. And lots of other things that she taught me in just this way. She saved my life.
Wow.
And I remember years later when I was in medical school, we were eating at the Russian Tea Room, which is a lovely place in New York City. We were having lunch, like ladies for lunch. And I asked her how she managed to do that. I could have died in all these things that she was setting me up to do. And she said, no, you would have died if you laid there on the couch.
So wise.
She said, this was your only chance to live. And
to reconnect with life.
That chance. She took me up to Cornell and left me there. I was in a sorority. She left me there to make my way.
Wow. Hardly know women, right? How many women were in medical school back then?
She was one of the pioneers of public health nursing.
And when you went to med school, there were no women there, right? How many women were in class?
I was accepted into medical school because the B'nai B'rith anti-defamation list told the medical school that they had to have at least one woman in the class, right? Wow. And it would be good if that woman was not a Christian, right? And I showed up, and the fact that I was chronically ill would have disqualified me anywhere else. But they needed someone just like me.
No, that's just crazy. Wow.
Oh my. Wow, that's so long ago.
No.
A long time ago.
Mm-hmm. What do you say to young physicians now, or young healthcare? What would you say to young physicians or young healthcare workers about, I'm thinking about medicine becoming very scientific and also very technological, right? AI everywhere and a lot of technology. I actually think that this is something I'm involved in Shiva, and I think this can be a wonderful opportunity if it's harnessed in order to empower medicine
Oh,
and not to
yeah,
replace it.
no question. But I still tell the medical students that medicine is an act of love. It uses science as its tool, but it's not its tool.
Yeah. It's like technology in service of humanity.
And the thing about medicine is that if you practice it in that way, at the end of your career, you will discover you've become wise.
I think you may
And there are not too
discover,
many, yeah.
I think you may discover that there was healing regardless of the so-called outcome.
Mhm. And that the outcomes had nothing to do with curing of the body.
Yeah.
If that happens, that's wonderful. But even in the absence of curing in the body, there's deep healing that can happen. Yeah. And all of this. And of course, this was not the thing that most people were talking about way back there then.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Rachel,
I have so many funny stories about this too. I was the only woman in the class.
the only woman in class?
Yeah, they didn't have
Wow.
any women. And that's why the laborist folks got after them, is that they were obviously, prejudiced. There was no women. There weren't people who were Christian, right? Right. So I was the perfect candidate. And I remember tiptoeing. Nobody talked to me for the whole first maybe 3 months I was there. Then my father started visiting me, and we lived in the house staff residence. In the bottom of the house staff residence was a billiards room, right? Magnificent. Someone had donated it to the medical students, and the guys hung out there, and you hear them, the balls go clack, clack, clack. And of course, this was male holy land. And I wasn't even welcome in the classroom. God forbid I should walk into there and go past it like this. So my father comes to visit me for the first time in the house staff residence, and I'm walking him to the front door. He's going to get in his car and go home. And he hears the clack of the billiards, and he says, "What's that?" And I said, "Oh, the guy's playing billiards there." He says, "Oh, let me go see." I said, Dad, we don't want to go. And he said, "Well, why not?" And he just walked right out. I said, "My father is going to, my God, I'll never." And I'm hovering in the doorway, and he walks in, and of course they stop playing. And they look at this little old hunched over gray-haired man, and they say, "Can we help you?" With an arrogant thing. And he says, "Sure, hand me that cue." And the guy hands him the cue, and my father lines the balls up in the middle, and he goes, and the ball goes and hits that, and those balls start going until they're gone. And the guys are like, "I bet you couldn't do that again." He says, "Well, in the middle again." And he does it again.
Wow.
My father grew up on the Lower East Side, where he was a runner for all the drug people as a little boy.
My God.
Things that he did was they all played billiards. They taught him how to play billiards. He was extraordinarily good at this. And this was it. My father became the hero of my class. Right? I mean, extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. People would come up to me and say, "When's your dad coming back?"
It's incredible.
Really?
So funny.
Really?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, really? Yeah. Oh my God. I can still hear the clack of those balls. They made a certain clicking sound. But my dad could get a bunch of balls in the middle of that table and hit them so that they went in all different directions, and the table was completely cleared
Perfectly.
perfectly.
It's a great story.
Oh, how funny. My goodness, huh?
Yeah. Rachel, I want this to be the first of a few conversations we'll do together.
About what? What are we talking about?
We're talking about love and life and medicine.
Yeah. Well, medicine is an act of love.
It is.
And I think that that was the thing that turned the key for me. Um, I don't think that I belonged as I wasn't a scientist. I didn't care about science at all. I didn't care about a lot of this stuff, but I did care about love. And it was a powerful act of love. It redeemed people and their families. And
It can be in an
I think
instant.
that's why I stuck with it. Yeah. I mean, I'm not I was a philosophy major in medical school. They had never had a philosophy major enlisted in the school before. It was considered an irrelevant major. Can you imagine?
Oh my God.
It's a terrific major for a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
No,
what have we been doing for an hour? Is it anything useful to anybody else? It was kind of fun.
I think it will. I think it will. And you know, one of the things that I love about doing this independently, that I really do what interests me. I don't care about ratings and downloads and streams and all. I don't care about that. I just, I do. This is my playground. This is my playground of creativity.
Well, I don't want to waste your time. I know that your time is very precious and your time helps a lot of people at the moment right now. And if you feel this is worthwhile, I trust you.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Sure. And when would you like to talk again? And
I,
is there a time? Feel free to offer a frame, a
okay,
topic, or anything that you think would be of interest.
we'll do that next week.
Sure, I can do
Yeah,
that.
that would be
Sure, I can
wonderful.
do that.
That would
Is
be.
this, what is it, the middle of the night over there?
It's 11 p.m.
Oh, and it's one, no, that's the wrong
Yeah, it's
clock.
1 p.m. for you.
Yeah, 1:01 p.m. for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, going to bed soon.
Okay, so think about what give me a whole bunch of topics
I
that you
will.
think we should talk about.
It will
And
be
it
wonderful.
doesn't have to be medicine, it can be femininity, it could be anything.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
We'll do that. Thank you so much. It was
Hope
such a
you
pleasure.
take
Thank
good
you.
care of yourself and
You
you're doing
too.
important things. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
More soon. Good night. Good
Good
day.
night.